Let's have a conversation.
What's going on, people? How are you doing? How's your days going? Now, this time, I'm going to remember to say, if you stepped in here in the room, and if you like the content, if you want to see more, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for coming. I'm going to break down a topic that I talked about with a few friends at the time that it was going on. Hey, Danielle, how are you doing today? How are you doing today? Now, do you watch? I know you watched the challenge, Danielle, I'm pretty sure. But I am going to break this down for people who don't watch the challenge and for people who don't know who Dee is. And I think that the topic is an interesting one, regardless of whether you watch the challenge or know who she is or not, because it touches on a topic of race that it seems like we always have to keep revisiting every time we have one of these reality TV shows. Okay. Hi, Lisa. How are you doing today? Hey, glad you made it, Charmed Life. Because I know you are one of the people on my channel who definitely follows the challenge as actively as you follow Big Brother. So MTV back in the day. Yeah, Zebin. Yeah. Oh, you don't watch Danielle. Oh, okay. Well, I'm so glad that you're here to support anyways. Thank you. Yes, and I'm going to get to that, Zebin. I'm definitely going to get to that. I'm going to get to all of this. So what we're going to do here is like a little summary and breakdown of her podcast. It's called the Dee Nguyen Podcast. If any of you want to actually look it up, you can. It's DEEVINE Podcast. And she only has one episode, I'm pretty sure. And the one episode is about this very topic. Yes, I love the challenge. Me too. Can't complain. I hope you're well. I'm having a good day today. Thanks for asking, Lisa. In the past, I haven't. Oh, you used to watch it. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit about what happened with this castmate named Dee. So we were here in the middle of having a season. They did a horrible job too. I was so angry at this situation. But we were here in the middle of the season. And then Dee makes a couple of tweets. So to break down the scene of what happened. We were right in the middle of the Black Lives Matters movement in 2020. And there was the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and several different people of color, right? So what happened during this time is that there was a day that I don't know if you guys remember. The people were putting a black square. It was just, they were putting a picture, an all black square on Instagram in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. And Dee, who was somebody who was on the challenge at that time, was posting bikini pictures. So this was some of the fans' responses to her posting the bikini pictures. Yes, I'm going to get to these comments. But yeah, let me get to this response that she gave to the fans, to a fan, right? So this person said, all you posted was a black square and went about your day. Oh, I guess she did actually post a black square. Posting your lame A thirst traps, which was the bikini pictures that I was talking about. Wake up, people are dying, SMH. So she puts, people die every effing day. You don't know me or what I do. I suggest you wake the F up and get off social media. Next thing she posts, which was the straw that broke the camel's back for everybody. I don't know why some of you think I'm anti-BLM. I've been saying that since the day I lost my virginity. this was the comment that got her kicked off of the challenge. So the challenge posts this. MTV The Challenge posted this. As a result of Dee, I don't know how to say her last name, offensive comments on the Black Lives Matter movement, we have severed ties with her. Out of respect for our challengers, we'll air out our season as planned. We strongly condemn systemic racism and stand with those raising their voices against injustice. So I'm coming back here in a second to get to these comments. I actually liked her and was rooting for her when she won War of the Worlds too. I didn't mind her. But she showed her true colors. I didn't do the black square. It felt too performative, and I bet not many of those people changed much. To be honest, I didn't do a black square either, but I don't follow social media trends at all. I do not do social media trends, so it had nothing to do with me not being in support. And I was actually out at protests that they had here in Brooklyn and various parts of Manhattan. I did several of them, but I don't do social media trends for the most part. But anyways, I have to say, so I'm going to say a little bit more about this. If any one of you guys know Wes Bergman, because I'm going to be playing some of her audio from her podcast that she just did. She was living in Wes Bergman's house at the time. She's from Australia. She's of Asian and Australian descent. So she's a person of color herself. So she was living in his house because he was filming this TV show called Friends and Benefits, I believe it's called. And he had a bunch of people from the challenge living in his house, and they were doing like fun things and they were doing charitable acts. She was one of the people that came to his house for that because they were friends. He actually said that he considered her like a daughter. Wes did take her under his wing for a bit. Yes. So when this whole situation happened with the tweets and her getting kicked off of the not kicked off of the challenge, but them severing ties with Dee, he kicked her out of the house. And I'm going to show you what he said about that. Now, what else was I going to say? I'll remember as time goes on. I had something that just slipped out of my mind, but I'm going to show you what Wes said as a response to her comments. So Wes says, I stand in support of the BLM movement as evidenced not only by everything I stand for, but everyone I stand with. What Dee did was absurd, insensitive, and wrong, but most of all, it was ignorant. Dee was basically my daughter. This is all Wes, by the way. I made the decision to ask her to leave in less than an hour. The public decision is what the world needed and deserved, but it doesn't stop my grieving. I then proceeded to go down a 24-hour road of finding a place for her to go. Her mental health by this time had deteriorated to a level where being in a hotel alone would have been the most dangerous option of all. An international flight out of Missouri in the early evening of a pandemic is non-existent, and none of the above keeping her safe, heal, or educate her. Yesterday, we successfully landed her in what I'm going to refer to as a mental health lodge. We have sourced daily psychotherapy sessions in an effort to essentially build her an outpatient care program for when she eventually leaves. Where she'll go is unknown at this second and not the current priority, but my best guess is Australia. I could have not have done more faster. Now that I can breathe, please give me the time and privacy to grieve for all those affected by the last 24 hours. I required third-party counseling to ensure I was making the safest and most legal move. It required speaking to a doctor, a hotline, a CEO, and a lawyer. What was happening was so beyond my experience, and a lot was at stake. Everything from the continued momentum of a movement I firmly believe in, all the way to a literal human life. Throughout this time, we were able to sit with her and educate her on our mistakes. Systemic racism cannot be explained in a night, but I tried and made as much progress as could be expected within such a short window. The growth will continue where she has been transplanted. So, I'm going to dive into just this part. I remember Wes had issues with Devon. I forget the comments he made, but people were calling him out after this post, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't recall that, but I know that you are a reliable source, so I believe you. But I didn't see when that happened. But I think what I was gonna say is that at this time, because this is going a couple of years ago for me, the way that I was feeling when this initially happened. First of all, I was upset that they cut her out of the show. For those who don't watch the challenge, she was a main piece of the challenge at that particular time. A season was going on, and because of the comment that I showed you guys right here, I don't know why some of you think I'm anti-BLM. I've been saying that since the day I lost my virginity. Because of this comment here, they edited her out of all the remaining scenes of the season. So we were watching things, we were seeing the back of her head, we were seeing her from a side view. They took out all her confessionals. They added in filler stuff to the show in place of what they had of their original edit with her in it, which was absolutely stupid to me. But they did it because they were scared to face backlash of the BLM movement. And I don't like it for that reason, because those who have been watching the challenge remember there's been several race incidents on the show, and a notable one of the most notable ones, is when Camila went on a tirade on Leroy, which he did not talk about off the air at the time. She went on a tirade and he's like, "You stupid black mother effer," and she just went off on him for hours. And the whole house was just standing there watching her do this. And MTV didn't step in at any point. And he had to kind of say something for himself, but MTV did not condemn the comments that she made. So this one seemed more like a knee-jerk reaction to the movement and not wanting to face backlash. And I'm a person who is more on the educate them side and give them a chance. Now, that said, I don't think that Dee should have faced no punishment. I just think that the punishment of like cancel her forever did not meet the crime at the time. I am going to say that after I listened to her podcast, this is after she had a couple of years to think, reflect, and potentially say that she understands the ramifications of what she was saying. I no longer want to see her. I mean, I didn't care for her that much as a character anyways, but I no longer want to see her on any show after hearing what she said. And I'm going to play some of that in a minute. Wes basically said that Devon threatened to kill him when she said no such thing. Basically, that she would get thugs to harm him, and people felt it was racist. I think I vaguely remember that. I think that I vaguely remember that. Okay, guys. So without further ado, I'm going to start playing this clip. I'm going to pause it at times for commentary.
The challenge, and that's where all the amazing life experience things happen. Like, I was at the highest of my high, but then I was also at the lowest of my lows, and I don't regret anything that happened. I don't regret my time or experience or the people I've met, but maybe one thing I do regret is how it all came to an end.
So how did it come to an end?
Because I didn't write that tweet from a place where, like, I was just a fucking idiot and writing a tweet. Like, there was things that built up and led up to that tweet. Even though to this day I stand by that tweet, I never fucking said anything racist. I never said anything like that was like What I said verbatim, if you go back and look at my tweet, was, I don't know why some of y'all think I'm anti-BLM. I've been BLM since the day I lost my virginity. Okay?
So I want to stop right there, first of all. She said, I stand by the tweet. I never said anything racist. Now, do I think that it was racist? Not necessarily, but it was extremely ignorant. It was extremely ignorant. And I feel like her apology is severely lacking. I felt like her apology at the time was kind of a PR statement. And as you guys listen further to what she said in this podcast, you'll see why I'm saying that.
The timing was probably wrong and fucked up.
It has nothing to do with the timing for me. It has nothing to do with the timing. The comment is the comment. There was no right time to say that.
Verbatim, if you go back and look at my tweet, was, I don't know why some of y'all think I'm anti-BLM. I've been BLM since the day I lost my virginity. Okay? The timing was probably wrong and fucked up because this was when like all the protests about George Floyd was going on. But fuck, what I said was in no shape or form racist, and the hate and abuse and the shit that I copped after that tweet was sent was so wrong. And that's what I want to call out. The backlash that I got from cast members who were on the show with me, that really surprised me. Some of these people I thought that were my friend were not, and they were attacking me and they were saying, why the fuck are you saying this?
Okay, so I'm going to read this comment first. Yeah, I didn't think it was racist. I looked at it as ignorant as well. She failed to read the room. So as she mentioned the friends that were attacking her, I know that there was probably more than what I'm going to be putting on the screen, but I think the main ones that I saw attacking her, or how she's calling attacking her, at least publicly, were Bailey and Swaggy C. I don't know if I have this clip. I don't know if I have this. I thought I had it. But anyways, basically Bailey and Swaggy C were going back and forth with Dee. I did have it saved. I don't know what I did with it. But Swaggy C was saying that Dee was very performative. He was saying that she was fake. And he was saying that he can't believe that she, said something that was like that, what she said, and that he doesn't think that she should be on the show anymore. And Bailey was kind of chiming in and saying that as well. So I think those are the main couple of people that she was talking about. I know other challengers chimed in, but yeah, that was the most public one.
Look at you, you're fucking racist. Who the fuck do you think you are? I remember so vividly that I was fighting with these two cast members that when we were on a show together filming and there were like no cameras around, we had moments where we really connected, and I felt like I saw their soul and they saw my soul, and I thought like, we're real people here, even though we're all here trying to win money or whatever, competitors. We're real people. I see you, you see me. And what shocked me, what really upset me was they took what the tweet I said and they made me paint me out to be this person, that this villain and this fucking horrible human being. People on these shows, like the black people of America, have been through some things. I understand that. I know history. I know what's going on. But I felt like they fucking used me as a tool to catapult their own fucking careers or their own sort of political image, right? Because they were black people, because they needed to talk about BLM, because they needed to be like righteous, we are the champions for black people of America everywhere, because what happened to George Floyd is so fucked up and we need to do more. Yes, do more, all for that, but don't fucking use me as a scapegoat and tear me down to benefit yourself. And that's...
I'm not with any of those comments that you just said, that she was used as a scapegoat, that people were trying to use her, condemn her and bring her down to be a champion for black people. This is where she lost me. Because I expected her to say something more like it was an ignorant comment that was blown out of proportion. I don't remember if I have this in the clip, and you guys can watch this yourself It's called the Vine, Dee Vine podcast. You can find it everywhere that they do podcast platforms, wherever you guys watch it. I watched it on Spotify, or I listened to it on Spotify. She was basically saying that she was baited by troll fans into this. She was saying, don't think that this was I just randomly said that. She said that she was catching a storm, basically, of a bunch of people that were telling her why she posting those bikini pictures, because she should be in support of the BLM movement and making posts about BLM. She said, it's my page and I don't have to do that. And I agree. It is your page. But the thing is, the comments are the comments. And when I had my interview with John Brennan the other day, he was like, he has told several castmates and former castmates, or just people that are friends from the reality world, if you find that Twitter is too toxic for you, unplug. I don't give her the same kind of grace as I would give her if she said something like that in the house, because you can unplug. There's no cameras on you in your house when you're looking at that. If it's true, if you find that those comments that you're getting from those trolls are too much for you, get off the computer. Get off of Twitter. Don't even respond. Block the person. That's what I do. Y'all know that I have block parties on my page. I agree, not ignorant and in poor taste. I can agree that she comes off fake. It was like she was becoming friends with people to push her agenda. And that's what a lot of them have been saying. And if it was just like one person or two people saying it, then I'd be like, maybe it's them. Maybe they're just trying to bash her, bring her down. But there's too many people saying the same thing for me to think it's all everybody else and not her. And this podcast was a very woe is me podcast. Now, over time, she became this unlikable person. She came out very thirsty and was doing whatever she needed to stay on the show and keep her paycheck coming. I have to give y'all a trigger warning before I get to the end of what she said, which is not right now. But before I get to the end, there's a piece where she's talking about being suicidal. So this is a trigger warning for anybody who does not think that they can handle or tolerate hearing that part. I'm telling you now that it's going to be coming. Yeah, she was chasing the fame in a bad way. My dad is doing okay. Thank you for asking.
That's what fucking sucked. Betrayal of my friends, that's what hurts more than anything. One of my good friends on the TV show was like, well, I have this crazy idea. You're in my city.
Okay, so what she's about to be talking about in this part is Wes inviting her to Kansas City for the show. And this is where she was when she made that tweet. And then she's going to talk about Nehemiah, because some of y'all were asking about the whole thing about her saying she was in love with Nehemiah. This is what she's going to talk about in this next section. She doesn't reference them by name, but if you followed where she was and what she was doing at that time, yeah.
More than anything, one of my good friends on the TV show was like, well, I have this crazy idea. You're in my city. I'm going to create this show. This could be like an art project for us. We'll create our own mini COVID show during lockdown, and we'll get like people who are, on the shows as well to come in and fly in, and we'll stay in this big house. Like, I talked about it to friends, but like now putting it out there, it's such a beautiful time of my life. When I was in Kansas City, I lived with this guy, because he was the friend of the friend that I was supposed to go to Kansas City to see. And he and I, were talking for a little bit, and I felt like we had this amazing connection, and we haven't met yet, but we were going to meet in Kansas City, so we were chatting while I was in the US. And he and I were just like, I've never met him before, but we chatted, we FaceTime and stuff. He and I were just like, well, we're both going to be in Kansas City, so let's just book this Airbnb, 2 bedrooms. No, actually 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. You have your room, I have mine. It's a bit weird that we're going to live together, but fuck it, we'll save money on Airbnb costs.
And you're going to do the show together?
Yeah, because he was from, Arizona or something, and he was planning to move to Kansas City, so he didn't have a place yet. So together, I'll go for runs, and like he'll be working, and like I'll just be doing my thing. But like we just had a really nice time. We were just in our bubble, and I got to experience that. And I can honestly say, like, I fell in love with him, and I think he fell in love with me too. But what happened and how it all came crashing to an end was that's what sucks. And I don't think I fucking healed properly from that relationship. We weren't even in a relationship. Obviously, our relationship turned sexual and all that stuff, but we weren't fucking like dating, you know? But like the connection.
She was saying all kinds of stuff here. She said he was my soulmate. She was saying, not on this clip that I have here, but she said he was my soulmate. She was saying I had a special spiritual connection with his dog. She was saying I fell in love with him, and I think he fell in love with me. She said, but we weren't dating. It was just sexual, but I'm getting over that relationship, but we weren't dating. This was just all over the place. And I have to say that she also mentioned being mad at Swaggy C and saying that he was slandering her for saying that she snorted coke. But she was talking about the fact that she does all these psychedelic drugs on this podcast. So coke might not be her drug of choice, but she definitely does things that alter her reality. She does drugs. She said it on the show. So yeah, I mean, it was probably a low blow when Swaggy C said it. I'm just going to leave that there.
Fucking healed properly from that relationship. We weren't even in a relationship. Obviously, our relationship turned sexual and all that stuff, but we weren't fucking like dating, you know? But like the connection you have with someone on like a physical, spiritual, and sexual level was just unreal. And I haven't really experienced.
I'm glad you asked that, J Daily City M. The answer is never. I listened to the entire half hour waiting for the part about her taking responsibility and accountability for what she said and what she put out there. It's not there. This was 30 minutes of I'm the victim, woe is me. I'm mad at the backlash. I'm mad at MTV. I'm mad at Wes. I'm mad at Nehemiah. I'm mad at the fans. Nobody took control of her fingers and made her type that. It's on you, Dee. It's on you. That's the whole thing. I can sympathize with all the things that she's saying after we get to the genuine apology for what was said. And I listened and I listened and I listened some more, and it's not there. It is not there, I promise you. You can listen yourself. It is not there.
Is that in a long, long time?
Right before the tweet, sounds like it was one of the happiest periods of your life. And then it all came crashing down. Did this guy ditch you as soon as the tweet happened? What happened?
I wouldn't say he ditched me after this tweet happened, but he pulled back. And whether it was him pulling back or me expecting him to sort of like step up for me a little bit more, he disappointed me and he let me down a lot because he chose a side that was with the masses, right? That wanted to cancel me, even though he didn't verbalize it, but his actions spoke louder than his words, and he chose a side, and I was like, right, you chose that side, I'm done with you, and once I'm done with someone, I'm fucking done, and I chose to not communicate with him anymore, and I chose.
Even this feels like clout chasing to me. She said that she did this podcast because she had to get those things off of her heart and off of her mind. And she's glad that she finally has her own platform to express her feelings, whatever. Then at the end of this, she's like, oh, next week, I'm going to talk about the best orgasm that I ever had. She needed this first one to get everybody's attention. And she said like shock value things in there to get people's attention, in my opinion. It was not about clarifying her comments. It was not about anything. It was just like, look at me, I'm still here. And I need something to boost me up for this podcast. And I know that people are going to spread it around. Like here I am talking about it. Other people are. I saw it on a Challenge Tea website, a Challenge Tea Instagram page. I'm helping her promote her agenda in a way. But I'm doing it for the benefit of my page. She put all of her so-called friends in a situation that friends, sorry, press the button too early. Yeah, she was trying to get an audience. Hi, Tammy. All right, let me play this. And this is getting close to the part where she talks about suicide again for anyone who just jumped on. Trigger warning.
To cut him out of my life, as I did with everyone else that chose a side. Like, yeah, this is me, this is what I do, blah, 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 blah. I feel like people take advantage of that. And people took advantage of me not knowing how fucking toxic Twitter could get.
Oh, I only took that little snippet of this one part that she said, but she was like, I was brand new to Twitter, and I thought that everybody on Twitter was positive, and then I found out that there was people out there that were just, pushing my buttons and trying to get me to say things, and they were pushing and prodding me until I finally said it. I have a YouTube page with a little under 1,800 followers, which is way less than whatever Dee has, I'm sure. I wake up in the morning, I see wild commentary sometimes on my posts, and my posts are positive, always. And I see wild commentary in there. Nobody can ever make me say anything. See the comment, I look at it, mostly I delete it and I block the person. That's how I respond. Delete and block. Delete, block, or ignore. One of those three things. Delete, block, ignore. Because if somebody says something, there will be people out there, and I'm not even a celebrity, and I know this. There will be people out there that will say things to you just to get you to respond and lose it all. But in the case of the specific thing that she said, nobody made you say that. That comment was just out of pocket. And there's no justification that you can come up with. An apology gets negated with your explanations. And this podcast was a 30-minute explanation of why she did it. We didn't need a 30-minute explanation of why. We didn't need a 1-minute explanation of why. We just needed to know that you have learned from it and grown. I didn't hear that, and I didn't see that, and I will not be watching future podcasts of hers. Not interested. This will likely be my only Dee post on this channel.
And the fans that I thought that were like fucking sweet, like whatever, really were just trying to like get more insight to use it as leverage and fuel for whatever the fuck they wanted to do. No, it's okay.
She said the fans were trying to use it as leverage and fuel for whatever they were trying to do. Leverage and fuel for what? I don't know. I mean, maybe there's some fan, maybe whoever said that is happy that she got canceled. I don't know. But
really we're just trying to like get more insight to use it as leverage and fuel for whatever the fuck they wanted to do. No, it's okay. What you went through, it's okay. And being able to tell my story, like open up to some of my girlfriends about how I fucking almost tried to kill myself when I was in Kansas City after that happened. I almost actually wanted to fucking kill myself.
She said that after all this happened, after the friends left her and after MTV canceled her, she was taking acid and some other stuff and trying to kill herself. It hurts me when people do this. Now, I'm not even saying that that's not true about her feeling suicidal and even possibly having a suicide attempt, which she was alluding to on the podcast. But the reason why I say it hurts me is because a lot of times people attach that in connection with something they did that was wrong. I did something wrong, and then fans attacked me, friends left me, the TV network canceled me. Then I felt suicidal and wanted to kill myself. And it's like, even if true, that's the end result of the action and the backlash. You shouldn't connect those two things. Like, if you really wanted to be an advocate, I said the same thing about Paloma. If you are really trying to be an advocate for like mental health, talk about that in a separate post. Don't put Wes in it. Don't put Nehemiah in there. Don't put the fans in there. Just talk about mental health, because this feels like I'm throwing the Hail Mary in here to tie up the bow on my I'm the victim story. I am the victim in this story. Your page wasn't hacked. See, I'm so glad that you said this, right? I'm so glad that you said this, because she was like, people jumped on the bandwagon and did what they had to do. So here's the thing about Wes and about Nehemiah, Bailey, Swaggy C, all these people, right? Ultimately, they have businesses to run. They do have companies to run. So it is tough when somebody does something detrimental to your business to keep them around. That's just the honest truth of the matter. Wes still helped her even after the backlash and made sure she was good even after all of that. Yeah, he didn't just boot her out. He even talked about it. I know that I put up the caption of that, but he talked about it on his Patreon, that he made sure that she was put in a hotel or somewhere where she was able to get psychiatric help and 24-hour care / supervision or whatever, to make sure she wasn't on her own. I agree. It seems she used the attempt to gain sympathy. Yeah.
And telling my girlfriends and being able to open up to them about that.
Right.
What you went through, it's okay. And being able to tell my story, like open up to some of my girlfriends about how I fucking almost tried to kill myself. When I was in Kansas City after that happened, I almost actually wanted to fucking kill myself. And telling my girlfriends and being able to open up to them about that. Like the shit that I've never fucking told anyone. And for them to hold space for me and allow me to speak and still love me. It's just amazing. And that's why I want to do this podcast, because I want to share that with you. Like, I want people to realize that any shit that you go through, no matter how fucking bad it gets, don't do anything stupid that will ruin your life, because there's people out there who fucking love you, man.
Again, I felt the same way when Paloma was saying similar things. I'm like, she was like, I'm sorry about what I said to Taylor, what I said about Taylor, but this is all the reasons why I said it. And then I have serious mental health issues. So that's the other part. And I was manic. Do you guys know what manic depression is? I was having episodes. And it's like, okay, sis, we're not interested in the why, honestly. We are interested in seeing or hearing whether you are aware of why your comments were problematic. And we're not hearing that. I'm not hearing that. If you guys heard this a different way and feel differently than me, feel free to chime in. But that's the way how I heard inside. I was rolling my eyes the whole half hour. Because I'm like, everything is about everybody else and what everyone did to you. And nothing is about what you did to cause this. You weren't thinking when you put that tweet up. Now, here's the thing. Sorry for being late to the party. Yeah, unfortunately, I guess you can check some of this back in the replay, Van Hoot, but I played about 6 minutes and 53 seconds of what I extracted from her 30-minute podcast that she did. And she was talking about how she's disappointed that her friends left her, turned their back on her, supposedly. How the network left her. How the fans turned on her. How she wanted to commit suicide after everything happened and all the backlash. But I think very little to almost nothing. She said, well, yeah, I guess it was a mistimed comment. Like the timing, I get that the timing of the comment wasn't right, but I stand by the comment and it's not racist. There's nothing racist, which I also said. The stand by the comment part, I don't agree with, but the part about it not being racist, I don't think that she's racist because she made that comment. I just think that she just doesn't get it. She still doesn't get what's wrong with the comment. That's the whole thing. There has to be a playbook because you can plug in different situations, slightly different things that they did, but the script is the same. Try to give people 100 reasons, 101 reasons to feel sorry for them. Like somebody did something to them. Key term here is accountability, and I agree, the accountability is lacking. The accountability is lacking. Everything that she has said, at the end of the day, you put this up there. You're the one who you're the one who thought about it, typed it out. You're a grown woman. It is what it is. I don't know why some of you think I'm anti-BLM. I've been like, it was such a serious time. She's talking about there's no, like, the timing was off. Even just attaching BLM into it. Even just attaching BLM to the comment already was going to make it way off. I liked her before. I actually liked her and I was rooting for her on the show. And also, I wasn't a fan of them cutting her out of the episodes. I'm still not a fan of the fact that they cut her out of the episodes. Why rob the fans of seeing the full unedited show because of a stupid off-season tweet that she made? If anything, maybe you could make a disclaimer on the beginning of one of the episodes that you don't stand behind her tweets or whatever that she made, but don't cut her out of the episodes. I didn't like that. She needs a family member to date a brother so she can claim that as her I'm not racist evidence. But it's funny that she's claiming the fact that she was in some kind of situationship with Nehemiah as evidence that she's not racist. She was using her situationship, which I think was just honestly friends with benefits, to say that she's not racist. Well, I'm not saying that she's racist anyways, but I think she's doing more to prove that point than she's doing to prove against the point. And I don't think that that's intentional, to be honest. I just think that she's being very prideful. I think that she's being extremely prideful and she doesn't want to admit that she was wrong. She was messing with Nehemiah. I'm sure he told her why it was messy. Yeah, and I'm sure that he's not happy about her trying to gain traction by being like, we were in love and we were soulmates. Why are you going to come out with that 2 years later? I don't understand that. And then she's going to make it a point to be like, oh no, he didn't cut me out. I cut him out. And I don't think that happened. I even kind of recall Nehemiah talking about it at the time, not in great detail, but I remember him saying, I can't associate with that. He was like, babes, you need to chill. You're making me look bad. Yeah, so this is my recap of the Dee podcast. I promise you guys, there's not much more worth listening to on it, but I always give my sources. When this first came out, when I first heard my couple of little clips, some of y'all know I don't come on a live until I have found wherever that clip came from and listened to the entire thing. And I listened to the whole 30 minutes. It was a self-righteous rant where she never said that she was in the wrong. The most that she said is, it was a stupid comment and it was untimely due to George Floyd murder and all this other stuff. But great chat as always. I'll wait for your commentary. Yeah, because I know some people see these same type of things and they immediately jump on a live. And I've had chats with people, with some of you guys, and I understand. I understand that some people will do that for the views, but I kind of like to make sure that I have enough details that I can feel very convicted with what I'm saying. And I'm very certain that I'm not interested in Dee. I'm not interested in watching her, listening to her podcast, or seeing her on a future show. It is what it is. When trying to make these statements to make yourself look good, you need to first at least appear. This is the thing. She has a PR team. She has a PR team. Did none of them tell her, like, hey, if you're going to do this, first things first, start open with this apology. This is what I'm saying. You're so right, Van Hoot. Like, we would be willing to listen to more of the poor me stuff after the accountability. After the accountability, not before. If you don't put the accountability in there, I can't. I'm thankful that you wait to get as many facts as possible. Thank you, Charmed Life. I'm thankful you provide me with a lot of those facts when I ask you for them. Like, can you tell me where you saw that? And you throw me some links. After that, you need to outline a public action plan of how you have grown and what you are working on. Yeah, I agree. She can hire me, a black man. Yeah, you need to be a part of some of these people's PR teams. It may cost her though. Well, she still has her following. I'm sure she still makes some money off of Instagram and sponsorships and all that kind of good stuff, because you can still be a social media influencer without being on TV. There's plenty of them. But in terms of her public image and being on TV, oh, you're saying her hiring me will cost her. Oh, okay. Yeah, I misunderstood that. I'm not sure she can afford you even if asked. Yeah, that's what Van Hoot was saying. Yeah, so she had consequences to her actions. I feel like even at the time, I wasn't sure that her apology was sincere. And I kind of feel like this whole podcast that she did proved that it was not. It proved that it was not. And I hope that these guys, I really hope that these people stop attaching mental health to their actions and their words, man. Because it makes people take the mental health community less seriously. if every time you do or say something wrong, you're like, oh, it's my mental health. Oh, this is what happened to me because of this. Oh, I got the backlash and it made me want to do this. Oh, I was having an episode which made me say this. Stop that. Just say, I was wrong. Full stop. Full stop. I was wrong. I should never have put that out there. I should never have said that. I was dead wrong. There was no place for me to say that. And I understand that my comments were ignorant and I wasn't reading the room. And as Van Hoot said, this is what I have done since that time to better understand. I've seen it multiple times. There aren't many good apologies, but I've noticed a trend where if it is a good apology, people stay out of the limelight for a bit, reappear, and demonstrate community involvement. Now, again, I've referenced this a couple times, but there is somebody that I reached out to in the Big Brother community, on Big Brother 24, that responded to me, and I'm not going to give the name. You can guess, but if you want, but I'm not going to give you the name. But I reached out to that person, and they said, I realized that I reached out for an interview, and they basically said, I can't do it right now because of the type of backlash that I'm receiving. And once I have time to kind of process everything and figure out my game plan moving forward, reach back out to me and we will get that done. And I respected that because they weren't like, I'm going to get on camera and go on this on-camera tour. I'm not going to go on this on-camera tour. I agree. It's harder for the mental health community because of people who did do what she did and what Paloma did. And that's why I was coming down on Paloma. Some people were like, Mark, you're missing the point. You're not understanding her mental health issues. Yes, I am. I understand those issues better than most people, and I'm educated about that specifically. I know about it well. And that's the reason why I don't like it being used in this case. I used to tell my clients a breakdown is not an excuse for treating others poorly. Make amends and be accountable. Absolutely. I agree. I got to tell you, Van Hoot, I got to tell you, even if Terrence showed up at my door and said, please interview me. No thanks. No comment. I've seen so many people use, yeah. I think I read that one already. Accountability and truthfulness will help you with the mental health issues you have. Exactly. And the thing is, two things can be true at the same time. Your mental health state can contribute to things that you think, say, and feel. But that still doesn't change it from being wrong. It's almost like if you are on a substance and you say something that you shouldn't have said, and you're like, the substance made me do it. Maybe the substance took away your filter and contributed. You still chose to take whatever it was, and it still came from your mind and your brain some way, somehow. So there's some kind of apology and accountability needed regardless of if that was a contributing factor. Because like for Paloma, clearly she was having some kind of episode if you saw the live feeds. But she was still kind of defending the fact that she made the comments and why. Apologies get negated by explanations, as I've been saying over and over. If I did something to offend somebody and I'm like, I'm sorry, But here's all the reasons why I did it. Here's all my reasons for doing it. They don't care about the apology anymore because they think that I feel justified in my stance. This is the problem, is people try to address more than 2 or 3 of these. 2, 3. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, Van Hoot. Like, the part about her saying she tried to commit suicide and all that is not something you throw in at the end of a podcast. It's not the bow that you wrap up the gift with. You got to take your time with that one. Walk us through it. Not necessarily not saying walk us through the attempt, but I mean, walk us through the mental health component separately, but not in a way that's like, this is what I did and here's how I did it. More like, this is the mental space I was in at this time. And I went to therapy or whatever she did. And this is how I learned that this is destructive behavior. And these are tools that I got from this situation that I now am applying to my life. Like, make it informative, educational, constructive. Don't talk like an advocate for mental health when you haven't really said anything that provides any of those tools for anyone. You just threw it at the end to be like, this is what it caused me when all this happened to me. Woe is me. They need to stay focused on one thing. Part of it is media training. Part of it is just sitting down and having common sense. One of my friends always says to me, common sense isn't really common. So true. I stop it at the door as the mental health community goes through enough due to false ideas. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so that was my little rant, I guess you could say, on that. I don't feel like she's apologetic. I don't feel like she thinks that she was wrong. And I'm comfortable with her staying where she's at. Oh, there was one other thing that I did want to mention, though. How do you guys think of how MTV handled it? Because like I was saying, I personally don't think that they instantly should have gone to cancel. I think that MTV is rather reactionary and is going with the trends. I don't want to look bad. I don't want fan backlash. So before we even have the potential for this to happen, let's just cut her out of this TV show forever. Whereas there was incidents with people like Jordan on the show. There was incidents with people like Camila. They put those people on timeout. Well, not Camila. Camila was able to come right back. Oh yeah, they definitely pulled the HR move. They need to stand for something. I don't feel like MTV stands for anything. I feel like MTV is following CYA policy. Y'all know what that is. CYA. And if you don't know, look it up. MTV jumped the gun. I totally agree. And I think that they did it via that tweet that I showed you guys. I don't even think that they informed her before they put that tweet up. So I think that some talks needed to be had prior to them saying she is cut off and canceled. And if any of you were not on here when I put that up, I'm going to put that back up. As a result of Dee's offensive comments on the Black Lives Matter movement, we have severed ties with her. Out of respect for our challengers, we'll air out the season as planned. Although they didn't air out the season as planned. And I don't even know why they put that in there, like not airing the season was an option. They cut her out. Anyways, we strongly condemn systemic racism and stand with those raising their voices against injustice. And I want to know how they stand with those raising their voices against injustice. Do they attend rallies? Do they contribute to funds for this? Do they help these communities that are underserved? How? What way? I felt like this was just a PR move. Like it was the right thing to say for PR, like Van Hoot was saying. I really do. She didn't even have to leave that season, Charmed Life. She didn't even have to leave the season where she made all those racist statements to Leroy, just like you're saying. That's crazy. TJ didn't even address it. I don't know if they informed TJ, but TJ usually walks in when an incident happens and is like, yo, this is not cool. This is not allowed. He walked in there like business as usual, and Leroy had to stop him and single out Camila and be like, I don't know why you said those things to me, but I did nothing to deserve them. And it was something. MTV hasn't shared how they stand against it because I don't really feel like they do stand against injustice. I just feel like they stand against people giving them backlash. Sorry, Mark, I'm on one tonight. You're on one every night, Van Hoot. You're actually on one every night. It's funny you give me all the serious comments after, and then you give me all the jokes on my lives. But yeah, this is a really good discussion. This is a solid discussion. Life is too short to not have a bit of fun. Absolutely. Life is definitely too short not to have some fun. It was ridiculous. I'm still mad. Leroy had to point out they don't follow him. But yeah. But still followed Camila on social media. Yeah. And then they said, Charm Life, they said that they were working with Leroy. They made some kind of public Twitter apology to Leroy and said that they are working with Leroy to help provide education about racism and bullying. But I have not seen anything about what they've done with Leroy. I wouldn't be surprised if it was one conversation, because I've not heard Leroy talk about it again. And I've not heard MTV talk about it again. So I think that was a PR stunt as well, because Leroy gained, if y'all don't know, Leroy put up a live on his Instagram, I believe, where he spoke about the racist incident that I'm talking about, where one of his other castmates, Camila, went on a racist tirade where she said several things about his skin color. And she wasn't admonished for that by MTV and continued on in that season, wasn't even spoken to about it, and went on to win. She wasn't kicked off or anything. And he talked about how that made him feel. And he talked about how there was a lot of racism going on within those casts. And that he was scared to speak up and say something because he thought he would not be allowed to come back for another show. It would impact him in that way. Everyone was rushing to apologize. I know, because he said this years after it happened. And then all of a sudden, everyone's apologizing, including his castmates, including Johnny Bananas. He was like, I'm sorry, my friend, that I didn't say anything in that moment. They aren't going to do a damn thing. I agree. Exactly. Nobody cares about BLM anymore. So, like, it was going with the trend. It was going, now that they have all the stories out there about the actual organization and about the things that have been going on with the money, the fraudulent activities and all that, and there's not this big BLM thing going on right now, the show doesn't care about that anymore. If the same tweet came out at this time, I don't even think it would be as big a deal for them. as a black man, when someone comments on your skin color, regardless of how secure you are in yourself, it hits very different. And you know what? He was in a room amongst a group of people who he considered his friends, and none of them said anything. It is one of the most mentally damaging things that you can do to an individual. And I have had that experience myself. And I have also had the experience in school. I had that experience in school, and the principal acted like it didn't happen. Right? I stopped watching anything on MTV and VH1. They couldn't handle backlash, so they reacted. And it's ridiculous because it's not addressing anything. Let's just sweep it under the rug. Yeah, not one of those people spoke up. And that probably hurt him to his core. I could only imagine being in that situation. I was with my girlfriend, met her best friend and her best friend on the first meeting. Really? Wow, that's rough. And how did she react? How did your girlfriend react to her best friend saying that? Until someone challenges the media companies, the change will only be superficial. Yeah. You are right about that, Tammy. I stopped eating at the dinner. Didn't want to make no damn scene. Didn't shake her hand or anything. But after I made it very clear to my girlfriend that that's it. I don't blame you. That sounds wild. That sounds wild, man. I would have had the same reaction to that. I mean, I've been told those kind of things, but not by anyone close to anyone that I'm close to. But yeah, everyone, thanks for a great discussion. As always, I appreciate y'all. You can always hit me up, give me feedback. If y'all enjoyed this chat, leave something in the comments, and I will catch all of you again soon. Have a great night.